Hello there, it's Simone. I have just finished filming two videos that I want to put up today and tomorrow. And since I'm not done, I decided that I am going to film along me doing what I actually came up to do and doing the other two videos. I have been going through my stamps yesterday. Well, for you yesterday and the day before yesterday, for me earlier today. And I want to do I want to use more stamps in my planner because I have so many really pretty, awesome stamps that I want to use. So I'm trying to find a way to easily incorporate them into my routine, kind of. And wow, this is super amazing. This is the worst. I purchased those and they're really good chalk inks, but several of the ink pads have been coming off the thing. And since they're not ink pads that you like put down and then you usually with these smaller ink pads, you use the ink pad to dab it onto your dab it, that sounds better, dab it onto your stamp. But if this was flat here, then you could use your stamp and dab it into your ink. Well, awesome explanation there. So what I was going to say is that I really should have used well, I like this. I really should have used this pencil board as so that it's flatter and then that we can actually, I can actually stamp better. But those are chalk inks and they sit on top of the paper, which means that they do not bleed through. Well, there's lots of ink, but it's just ghosting. It's not bleeding through. Other ink pads like dye inks, they will seep through the paper and then you will have ghosting or bleeding and stuff. So I want to incorporate the stamping into my journaling routine. And what I have been doing since I am sitting here and creating elaborate or pages that bring me joy, like this one, looking for an example like this one or this one, takes time. And if I journal on a daily basis, I don't have that much time every day when I want to write. So what I have been doing in the past and what you can see right here is that I usually sit down on the weekend and just splatter some ink onto my pages, like here. So I've already done all of the pages up until next weekend. And then during the week, so I don't have to wait for the watercolor to dry. I don't have to, I know where the color is when I journal. And I can take that into account. And then if I want to add even more, I can do that before I journal. I can do that after I journal. I don't have to add anything and still have a colorful page. So that's what I have been doing. I'm usually, when I sit down and write, like for instance, here, I just write. I don't, maybe I'll add a header title that uses watercolor, but I don't even really have to do this. This was a marker that I just traced. There's another marker one. This is watercolor again. This was watercolor. This was the pen myself. This was a gel ink that I used to create a title. I really like having titles. I don't know why. Or bigger words. It just fills the page. It looks nice. That's what I like. I wouldn't really have to do that in order to be able to journal. Or even if I wanted to write something and I just brought a pen and I want to make a title, topic, whatever, if I wanted to add bigger writing here with a different pen, with watercolor, I could add that later. So that it doesn't, me putting words onto this paper does not depend on me creating and doing artsy creative things on the page, which is important to me because I don't want this to become overwhelming if I have something to say. Because this has kind of morphed from a planner and journal to a journal, or actually a diary. Things that are on my mind, positive, negative, things that I want to write down, go in here. And so I'm working through a lot of issues, minor issues, bigger issues, whatever, on these pages. And I really feel this helps me to just live, so to speak. And so if I'm connecting, or if the process of journaling becomes you have to put all of those rules are only existing in my head, but I know that they are there and that these kinds of things will deflect me from actually sitting down and working in this if I have certain expectations. So if the process of writing going through whatever I need to go through in writing includes using watercolor, stamps, stickers, collaging materials, all of those things, then it becomes a huge thing. And then I need to find the time, the space, the mindset to do all this at the same time. So that's why I am trying to prepare the pages beforehand so that they have a certain base that I can work on. Important to note, I really try to free myself, or that's kind of like the underlying goal has been throughout this year, to stop locking myself into certain routines, certain ways I'm doing things, so that as I said, and then it gets too overwhelming and I can't fulfill my own expectations. So if at next weekend I don't have time to prep those pages, I need to make sure that I'm still able to use these, because in my mind I'm physically fully able, but mentally able to use this if there's nothing on there. Does that make sense? I am going to, before I'm continuing talking to you, I'm going to go and wet this really ugly looking stamp chamois. I purchased this several years ago from Lawn Fawn. It is some kind of microfiber sponge thingy that really cleans my stamps very well, and that I always use when I'm stamping. So I'm just gonna wet this. So now that this is wet, this is what it looks like, and it doesn't really have to be wet, it just needs to be damp, and it really cleans the stamps off well. And now I can reuse this, and I haven't done this for those two. I don't know how versatile you are with these kinds of, I don't think they're acrylic stamps, they are polymer, maybe some kind of like clear stamps. That's what they're usually called, their technical term in the scrapbooking world. I don't know how familiar you are with those, but if they at some point do not stick well to the backing or the stamp block, you can just use some dish soap and kind of wash them in your hands and then let them air dry, and that will bring back the stickiness. They might unstick earlier the older they get, but that is some a tip that I can give you if that's something you need. So I'm going to remove this and then just go. I have an idea for these are my weekend goals for this weekend. We're on Sunday, so Sunday vlog is already done. The idea that I originally had was that I'm very inspired by John Rush and Ange from Rainbow Ange, and how do I actually cross this off? It doesn't really matter. I did this, I did this, I still need to do this, I did this and this, so I'm quite successful this weekend. I went top roping, I went to the Bay Area Planner meetup, went virtually, I made cookies just now before I came back, I filmed, and that's what I'm doing right now. So what I was going to say is that I originally had planned to simply like be inspired by them. I really like that they just talk about things. I like the way John addresses issues that he has been talking probably with himself and over in his head, and he's bringing them out in the open YouTube world in these face-to-face vlogs. And so I thought maybe what I can do is, I don't want to commit to some kind of daily vlogging, which this has just turned into. It isn't. It's pre-filmed videos because today is Sunday and I have lots of time to do that. But I want maybe don't really want to promise anything. So I'm not going to say I'm going to commit to doing this, but I had the idea that maybe I could do some kind of weekend vlog, either face-to-face, just sitting there knitting, maybe even crocheting and talking to you face-to-face, or if that doesn't work, or if I'm not in the mood to face-to-face and I'm then just real time, like I'm doing now, film along something, what I'm doing. Because I actually, right now, I usually have kind of one afternoon on the weekends, or sometimes even a whole day, where I do creative stuff that I could film along. So we went top roping yesterday for the very first time since the lockdown, and we just realized today that I think I want to use green ink actually, which is right on top. So let's see if this one sticks. See, that if we use March 10th, which is quite close to, I'm not sure when I went top roping the last time. If I use March 10th, it's 222 days since March 10th, which is a long time if you think about that. So we have not been top roping for 222 days. Luckily, the gym has been open for a while now. It had to close temporarily in between, because right in the middle, because in Santa Clara County where I live, climbing gyms are considered family entertainment facilities. They are not gyms as the gym owners originally thought, or like everyone who is a climber would think. So they are not gyms, but they are, I'm going to use the same pen to trace around this. They are family entertainment facilities, and we were in the red tier up until October 13th. And in the red tier, family entertainment facilities weren't allowed to open. So Our gym, I think they opened in the beginning of October, October 1st, and they had to close down temporarily just to comply with the rules. And now that we have moved to the orange tier, which is something that we can talk about in a second, the climbing gym has opened again. It was such a bummer for us that it closed again. We had just gotten into the rhythm of actually going almost daily and just staying there for an hour. It was so much fun. Since March 10. Wow, almost had a hole in here. So yes, I would like to hear your thoughts on this, because if I'm not mistaken, COVID cases are on the rise again. So why did our county, which has the biggest numbers in the area since the beginning of COVID, has decided to move to the orange tier? I think this is such a, I don't know, not the best decision ever, because I don't think that is sustainable. It's gonna be probably closing down again. COVID cases are on the rise everywhere, which is like, oh my gosh, people, really, how long are we going to stay in this poop hole? Is this going to be forever? I don't know. So I'm going to write about this later. I want to add this stamp that autumn shows us how beautiful it is to let things go. Yeah, that is definitely the season that I am in right now. I have just, in my other video, I've destashed these stamps, and these are all the smaller ones that I have. Let me just show them to you. Here, I don't have a problem to give them away, but postage is going to be an issue. I can't keep on, if I'm giving so many things away, I can't keep paying postage. So I will say that if you're interested in any of those stamps, please let me know which ones exactly, and I will happily send them off to you. I would just ask you to pay for shipping. Yep. Where was I? I really do. I noticed that I'm not the person who doesn't like to accumulate things just for the sake of you accumulating, but that I don't want to be that kind of person, because I am a lot less stressed. And again, that is definitely a personality trait here, and maybe it's not a very positive one. If I'm easily stressed by owning things, but I am happier when I am using my things, putting them to use, getting them into the notebook, or knitting with it. Let's just using it to sew, using fabric instead of hoarding it. So this is the bigger the stamp, the harder it is to get an even impression everywhere. That's why I've been so... It's this ink that I'm using stays on ink, because I have found that even though this is one of the most vicious inks to the stamps, it's one of the ones that don't bleed through the Hobonichi paper. Maybe it is because it is so dry, but it totally works in here, so I'm using it because I already had it in my stash. I don't know if I would go out and buy it. It's definitely blacker, darker than the I have a black, what is it? I don't know if I have a Versamagic. I haven't tried this, but these chalkings are just lighter, so it's not a really deep black. And now I don't even know where I was with the talking. So yes, I want to use my things because it just brings me so much more joy. So if I'm not using it, I need to decide what to do with all the things, because they just take up space, and more than they're taking up space, they are also taking up, that's even worse in my case, I think, is they are taking up mental space. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to make a, let's see. So I want to make a, okay, let's start over. I want to make a grid pattern, and since I have this grid right on here, the 2x2, I guess, square, I will just keep the inks, the stamps right in there. Let me see if I will be able to succeed with that. I have done that before, and it looked so cool. So maybe I can move this around and put this one right here so it fills this all the way to the edge. Yes, so that works. Nope, I don't like this. Yeah, so that's where I'm coming from. I'm not saying that I am not, I like buying things, but I have several thoughts on that, to be honest. I really like buying things because first of all, I like to support these small like sticker shops and all those people. They create beautiful art. If I buy those things, what I do is I tell them that I like their stuff too. But however, I do feel that I can't keep on buying forever because it's just not sustainable. It is not sustainable because what if I just keep on collecting all the things? I feel I need one more thing, one more leaf. Is there another? Is this too big? Let me check. I need to use these things up. Otherwise, the only thing I'm doing is polluting without even some kind of getting something out of it, right? That's the reason why, if you have watched my other videos, you know that I'm looking into maybe purchasing an A5 ring planner. And yes, of course, I have never had an A5 ring planner, so going out and purchasing an expensive one is kind of a big deal. But then again, I could go and purchase a cheap one to test it. But I feel like that is not how it should be done. That is not what I should be doing, because I know that I wouldn't be happy with the cheap one that would just be for testing the rings. I really fell in love with the Filofax original, and so that is what I'm striving, or what I'm looking for. That is what I would love to purchase. And so instead, I will probably simply be going and waiting a little longer, saving up more money to be able to purchase a Filofax original and then use it. Also, the resale value of what a Filofax original is much better than wow, is much better or higher than nobody really wants to get a cheap used planner that they can purchase on Amazon themselves. So that's where I am. I don't want to, and also because I don't want to spend more money than I actually am going to spend anyway. So that's where I'm at with those thoughts. I'm quite confident that the idea that I have will work. Where's the leaf? Does it look good now? Is that what I'm going to do? Yes, let's just... Okay, let me try and see what it looks like. I can stamp it down at the bottom. Wow, so much time. Okay. I'm going to make a frame down here or a border down at the bottom, just so you see what I mean. So I stamped right here. Wow. And then I can use this and repeat the pattern right here, and it should actually fit. Yep. See? Isn't that cool? I love this. So if you had bigger stamps, I did this with crafting stamps and created a whole cover. So look at I love this. I love how this turned out. I need to add this one somewhere else too. Oh, let's just add this down here. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Looks like a washi that repeats all over and over again. Okay, done. I think I'm gonna call it quits for this video. So again, let me try this one last time. I would like for people that watch my videos to see that you can use your stash and you do not have to have anything new to make pretty pages. You totally can support people out there. You can also support Amazon. I'm not saying anything against that, but in order to be able to make pretty pages, you don't have to have the newest stuff. And the other thing that I would really love for you all to take out of those, and I need to make some kind of jingle at the end of my videos that tells you to take some time to yourself and make something creative that fills your soul. Maybe we should make a contest. If you have an idea, I'm like, I hope you take 15 minutes out of your day to fill your soul. Have a great, see you soon. Something like that. Doesn't that sound cool? I need to get cracking on that because I would love to have some kind of ending that is always the same. Make sense? Yeah. Alrighty. Goodbye. See you soon.